Nate, I want to move over to obviously our faith portion of Golf and Gospel podcast, guys. Obviously, you hear the word gospel. We do love to talk about our faith in Jesus and how he's working in our lives and how we hope to see you guys come to accept him or just be curious about him. But the question I have for us, Nate, is how has transitioning out of sports been for you? If you guys who new here, Nate played D1 collegiate golf at the University of Nebraska. And as I alluded to in the beginning of this episode, I played in the NFL for 6 years. So there was a transition period for both me and Nate. But Nate, I'd love to hear your take in regards to that.
I don't know. It was a slow transition because my career ended more abruptly. I talked about this
Right.
on your channel, but I got in a really bad, for listeners I don't know, I got in a really bad car accident, and I broke my skull. And because when you have a skull fracture and a traumatic brain injury, you could have like post concussive, post TBI symptoms, and I got those a lot whenever the semester started, and coincidentally, the golf season started. So I think just the stress and I always had a little bit of anxiety because I've always wanted to like prove my coaches right for believing in me.
Mm-hmm.
So that whenever those things happened and combined with like, because in syllabus week, that's when you're like the most overwhelmed with school because they just like list out everything you're going to do that semester. When I got all those things combined, I would get these symptoms, and then so the medical staff at Nebraska was like, your career's just done. Like we'll just pay for your school and you can just be done and focus on school and we'll get you a degree. So that was a really tough pill for me to swallow.
Right.
Because I was the most. Sorry, I'm gonna pause real quick.
You good?
I'm
You
just
good,
gonna
bro?
not have a light.
Yeah.
No, so I was really lost at that moment in my life whenever my golf career ended. I feel like trying to find myself was really hard, and not only that, I think the biggest there was a lot of lessons in my life that I learned in that moment when I was leaving my sport. Like trying to find myself, but I think the biggest lesson was just trying to trust God in those times where you're like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I never thought about not being a golfer. Because golf, your career could be a long time. And in my head, I was going to pursue pro golf. And I just think with my college career ending kind of abruptly, I feel like I didn't have a real chance to pursue pro golf because it was hard to get sponsorships. It's hard to get, kind of deals. And I just didn't have because when I medically retired, I wasn't allowed to play in any golf tournaments for the rest of the time I was in school. So I had 2 more years left of school. I couldn't play in a golf tournament. So I feel like I couldn't build into going into pro golf. So I was like, I think this is it. So that was tough. Like thinking about like, what am I going to do outside of golf? I've only ever thought about golf, but I think the like that Matthew 6, for like in the Sermon on the Mount where God talks about like, you see the birds in the sky, God feeds them. You see the flowers in the field, God clothes them. How much more does he care about you? I feel like that passage almost defined that. Like I was really worried about what I was going to do for the next 2 years and then after. And then God took care of me. Like he put things in place that helped me get to the next thing, get to the next thing, get to the next thing. And now I'm in a career that I love. And and I'm in a career that I love, which gives me the means to do the things that I love, like this podcast, go play golf.
Yeah.
So, I think trusting God was probably the hardest thing and the muscle that I worked out the most in that time.
Wow. Now, this is new for me. Obviously, I've heard this story from you before, but did it take you 2 years to figure out like, oh, you know what? I want to be a physical therapist, or did you already kind of know that like that was in the back of your mind, even though like you had this aspirations to go play professional golf? Like, was it just plan A and nothing else after that, or like when you got hurt, you was like, hurt? I'm not trying to belittle it. When you suffered, obviously the car accident, did you say like, you know what? I think I want to get into a field that services people. Well, I can service people to recover from injuries.
Dude, so talk about trying to find myself here. So that
Mm,
2 years when I got in my car accident, they're like, "You're done." I had 2 years of school left, essentially. And at the time, I was a broadcasting and advertising major. So I was a double major in broadcasting and advertising.
well,
I
you're
didn't
kind of
change my
using that
major.
now. You're still using the
I know I'm
broadcast a
kind
little
of
bit here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, so I'm using my degree. So heck
there you
yeah.
go.
Um. Uh. So. Uh. My plan when I got done with golf was I was trying to work in athletics. There's a bit of me that was like maybe I just pursue coaching. So I tried to do that, and they're like, yeah, it's really hard to get into college coaching. I didn't feel like my coaches in college were gonna really support me for that because my head coach, I don't know, he kind of sucked. So um, I didn't really want to. I feel like I didn't get a lot of help for that. But during FCA camps, a lot of the people in FCA camps are like, dude, you should get into coaching. But then, anyways, that didn't pan out, and then I got into maybe athletic administration, so like working in college athletics, and uh, then I interned in the athletic department. I was like, I don't really want to do this. But then I worked in the weight room. That's when I wanted to become a PT because I was so interested in like how do you build muscle, how do you improve sports performance. That was just a big passion of mine because I always liked working out. I was always like, yo, I want to be like Arnold and be jacked, you know.
Which is why
So
you hit the ball
that
380.
I don't know. I'm trying to be like that Jim Park guy, dude. It was my
Jen's
first time
awesome.
hearing about this dude.
Jen's awesome. Yeah, he trains out at Kierland, so yeah, he's a great dude.
Oh, dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, uh, I worked in the weight room, and whenever like an athlete was hurt, I was like, I want to figure out how to help you. And then that's when I was all like, maybe I should do physical therapy and try to pursue that. So then it was like literally that was 2 years. Like I went from one thing to the
Wow.
other, and it took like to the very end when I was about to graduate. Like I think I'm gonna try to take prereqs and then go pursue physical therapy. So yeah, it was a long journey.
That's awesome, man. And I love hearing how God restored some a new passion in you. Obviously restored you physically from the car accident and well as well, and has I hope this gives people in the audience a hope. You know, I mean it's encouraging for me to hear, and even just transitioning for me, man. I would say retiring from the NFL, bro, is a tug of war debate in my head or emotion in my head where like I'm content because I know where my identity lies, but there's a frustration because it's like, what do I do from here? And if obviously people that know me, or maybe if you don't know me, I don't want to be kept in a box where it's like, oh well, if you play in the NFL, you can only either go coach in the NFL or go into sales. I have a joy. This isn't like what I'm doing in the golf space isn't like I'm bored with an idea. Or the Lord has given me an idea and I'm walking it out. I think where that frustration comes is I feel as sometimes I'm disqualified in this space because um, I'm not famous or because I have an NFL background. And it's like, man, hearing you talk about golf, it's just like you just disqualified me. When in reality, bro, if you have listened to us, me and Nate be having some great takes that are reality, but it's never showcased. And then other outlets talk about it, and it's like, oh wow, I didn't know that. But it's like we already talked about that. So I put a lot of time and effort into this, man,
Yeah, you definitely do
and
your homework.
all the time, bro. And it's just like I just struggle because no one is seeing me for my new vocation that I'm hoping grows. I have identity struggles, but like I said, it's a tug of war argument or the motion in my head because it's like I know my identity lies in Christ, but like no one is respecting or giving me a shot in something that I'm passionate about. So I'm just automatically disqualified. And transition out of the NFL is tough, bro. It is a little bit easier if you had pedigree in the league. Like, obviously, an extreme example is like a Tom Brady. Opportunities are going
Sure.
to be afforded to you way, way easier because you're Tom Brady. But there's a bigger crop of guys that played 3 to maybe 6 years in that space where I'm at that were just your basic NFL guys, play some special teams, maybe got a few catches here and there. But when you're done, like no one's like giving you opportunity like that. I won't say no one, but it's very little opportunity that's given to us.
Yeah,
And I'm
versus while you're in the league too.
yes, yes, bro. Yeah, being a current NFL player versus former is two totally different things. And I've said this before. I don't know if I said it on my channel or on this podcast, bro. Trying to learn or get experience in a new vocation, you're behind the eight ball, bro. Like, I'm currently 34, and there are things like I would love to learn, like in golf media, or, I would love to, like, shadow these people or do these internships. But, like, you get disqualified because it's like, nah, we don't really want this 34-year-old. We want the hot shot
The
out of
22-year old.
the 22 year
Yeah.
old, right? But it's
The
like,
fresh college grad. Yeah.
yeah, dog. And it's like, I played in the NFL 6 years. I didn't have time to learn any new skill sets. So, as of lately, bro, yeah, it's just been some emotional things I've been dealing with, and it's almost like, am I putting into question my identity? Like I'm not, because I know, but the emotions, the feelings of it have been a struggle. And I know I've talked about in the past about like match to just quit, like rip this desire from me. But the analogy that comes in my head, I don't know, Nate, have you seen like that meme where that dude is like chiseling rocks and they're like diamonds behind it? And it's like two pictures. The top picture is like
Yeah,
a
he's
guy,
still going.
he's still going, and the other bottom picture is like the guy turned away. And every time I think about quitting, I'm like, dog, I wonder if I was just two more chisels away from seeing the fruits. So that's what keeps me going. And again, like I enjoy doing this, but trying to find your footing in a new space outside of like football is super tough unless again if you were a superstar player or if you broke the bank as a player and let's say you weren't like a huge name, but you signed like maybe a 3 year $30 million deal, you're able to take more risk investing in things. A lot
Yeah.
of times those things come back to you because you can afford to like, okay, I can invest $10,000 in this and like, wow, it turned into $5 million in the future. Guys in my space, we can't take a risk like
Can't
that,
throw around
man.
10,000. Yeah.
Yeah, you that would be super unwise. Like technically I could, but it would be super unwise for me to do that.
Hmm.
Um, so the transition for me, bro, I would say I know where my identity lies. I have to continue to not convince myself, but to tell myself where my identity lies. And it just believe that maybe I'm just a few chisels away from seeing the fruits in this new desire the Lord has given me. But I think kind of like you said, man, it's almost like the doubt and worry that I do have as a former player is that showing that I lack trust in God. I know I can verbally say I do trust in him, but like are my actions showcasing that? And I think a lot of time when that doubt
Yeah.
and worry creeps in, it comes into question.
What is your
But
mindset? Yeah. Does your mindset match that? Because I would be like, God's got me. God's got me. But I'm like, I just feel lost. Like, other
oh
side,
man,
I'm like, I just feel lost. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, man. And I said for me, I just don't want to just be seen in that box. Like if I like hypothetically, let's say if I were to go on to be an NFL head coach, everyone would celebrate that, and it's just like you only see me for this one thing when I have so many other like skill sets and like
passions. Yeah.
and passions. But when I pursue that one, it's just like you just don't give me a shot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's become frustrating to the point, like I said before in past podcasts, like Lord, just rip this desire from me and just give me something new. And He hasn't, and part of me, I'm happy that He hasn't because I like doing this. This is super fun. Um, I just want to see the fruits of it. And again, like maybe I'm a few chisels away, or maybe I'm like 30 chisels away. But in reality, I just gotta keep hammering away, bro, and
Just gotta
trusting the
keep thugging
Lord.
it out, dude.
And keep thugging it out and trusting the Lord. And I think by me still doing this is showing that I'm trusting Him. But it's like, how do I combat those negative thoughts and emotions with the hope that He's given me? And I love how you brought up the Sermon on the Mount too, bro, because when he's talking about trusting in the Lord's provision, man, like he feeds the birds, he feeds the lilies. I was just reading earlier today, I think it's Philippians 4:19. He says, my God is able to supply far more beyond anything that I can imagine. And when Paul was writing that letter, he was in prison, right? So the fact that Paul had that mindset to still say he can give me far more than anything that I can, and I'm paraphrasing the scriptures, that scripture, Philippians 4:19, that also brings me a hope. So, but again, transition isn't easy. Like, you play a sport your whole entire life, and it to come to an end abruptly. And obviously mine was not as detrimental as yours, but like, I didn't think I was done after the Lions.
Yeah. It was
So
still
that's
somewhat
why,
abrupt because it was a health thing.
yeah, it was still abrupt, but not like yours. Like, both of ours were out of control, but like, and I hope this doesn't trigger you, but like, man, like, who knows what happened if you could have still pursued. I still had the ability to pursue after the Lions, and I did, but it just, nothing came from that. Like, yours is like, man, I can't even pursue going pro anymore. So,
Well, I could. I just had to wait till I graduated,
mhm.
and it was just I
But
feel like I would
but
have.
you had the new passion though, and you've been obedient to that passion. Like, technically, yeah, you
Yeah,
still could, but yeah, like, but
yeah,
you found some good stability in your passion, which has been fruitful you from a monetary standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint. That it's like
yeah.
cool. You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
dude, one of my friends who played in the NFL for like a training camp. You know, he played at
Yeah,
ASU, academic All American. Now
yeah,
he's a OC at JMU.
good, nice.
But he was telling me like, so he played in the NFL, got cut, and he goes to the USFL, like back in the USFL days,
Right.
in like 2012, 2013, and he played a year, got like another tryout, and then he quit. And I was like, dude,
Mm,
his name is Flugrad, Aaron Flugrad. I'm like, why'd you quit? He goes, well, because I could just keep pursuing this, but then I would be 28 and getting into coaching versus I'm 24 now. If I
yeah.
get into coaching now, I can kind of be a little bit ahead in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like when he said that, I was kind of thinking, do I graduate and then keep playing pro golf, but then be like, you know, and if I don't make it, be 30 when I pursue a new career
Mm-hmm.
versus me being 22 at the time now, pursuing a new career. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I remember just thinking about, and I feel like that kind of bodes to like what you were saying about how like you're 34 now. It's like kind of hard to be an intern at 34. I guess
Yeah.
these companies who do these internships want like a young guy, then they'll be at the company for 20 years. It's like, dude, no one's going to work there for 20 years, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I also think to what you said, I remember one of my physical therapy mentors would be like, he'd always say like, I'd ask him like, did you play a lot of these sports that he worked in the NBA? I'm like, did you play a lot of these sports growing up or anything like that? And he goes, no, I never really played basketball. I played tennis and I swam growing up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did you get into basketball? He goes, just real quick though, I want to say that sometimes the PTs that don't play the sport, and in your case, sometimes the analysts that don't play the sport might be better at being an analyst because they do their homework a lot more extensively than the
Mm-hmm.
former player because the former
Yeah.
player just relies on their experience, which your experience is limited. It's a limited perspective because it's just your perspective. Whereas if you do
Mm-hmm.
homework, you'll get this guy's perspective. You'll get this, and so like let's say for example, since you do your homework, you'll get the perspective of a short hitter because you follow Andrew Putnam a lot. But then
Yeah.
you also love Finau, so you'll get the perspective of a long
A long
hitter,
hitter.
and you'll kind of see like two different strategies on how to approach a long course versus
Mm-hmm.
a short course.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be better at your homework. Whereas for me, I'm always going to be empathize with the short hitters, or I guess I like big hitters. So I'd always empathize
Right.
with long hitters and
Right.
identify as long hitters and just be like, yeah, just pick the long guy, you know. So I think I will say the world does undermine that, but I think that should be like more or less your argument is like, dude, since I didn't come up with this, I do my homework a
Mm-hmm.
lot better than the dudes that did come up in it. I
Yeah.
really think when we come on the show, I do feel like you are a lot more prepared than, and I do my homework. I
You do so.
swear
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I swear on God, I do my homework. But I
Yeah.
feel like every time you come on here, I'm like, this guy has
Mhm.
done his homework, and
Yeah.
that's why I hope other people see how well you prepare and how hard you work for this, because I am truly impressed with how well you know the game, as someone that didn't come up in the golf world.
No, I appreciate that, man. And again, when people listen, I just want them to obviously say, like, man, like they're a reliable source, or like, oh, they came in prepared. They're not just like just talking just to talk. Like they're talking about statistics, giving reasons why. And like I said, this week, if you look at the leaderboard, you can tell we did our homework, bro. And then golf is hard to predict because it's not like obviously sports, which is 1v1. I got 50% chance. We're picking like out of a field of 70. So that those chances are
Yeah,
so little.
and it's not matchups, right?
It's not matchups. Yeah. So for us to like, I think we had like what, maybe 5 players in the top 15 that we picked.
That we picked.
That is good. And we excluded Scotty, so it's really in the top 14.
Yeah, dude, let's go.
Right. But nah, man, that's great. And again, obviously there's some things for me that are still being written that I'm still hopeful for. But I hope you guys are encouraged by Nate's story, how a passion of his was taken away, and the Lord, renewed a new passion in him, and he's doing very, very, very well in it. And if you're injured, hurt, and you need a PT, you need to come to Arizona and see my dog Nate One, man. But again, guys, this is the best podcast show, Golf and Gospel Podcast. We see you guys on next episode after the Farmers Insurance and obviously the Hilton Garden Championship with the LPGA. I'm Geremy. This is my homie Nate. See you next time. Peace.